Today we're going to look at something that we haven't really covered much, which is making bulk database changes. So let's start off with, we'll do a select statement against the databases. So in this case I'm going to get names from sys.databases, and we're going to rule out the system databases because we don't usually touch those. So we say where database ID is greater than 4. So you have the default databases such as the system ones where you got master, MSDB, tempdb, etc. And you end up with an ID that's higher than 4. So anyway, this leaves us with our two user databases, one called body, one called examples. And I'm just going to show you here the compatibility level. So in this case, we're going to demo changing the compatibility level. It's currently at 130 and the native is 150. So what we're going to do is simply declare, and we're going to create a declare, or basically a temporary table, if you will, using declare. And what we're going to do is throw the names of any database that is not level 150. So basically we're going to throw the content of our previous query in there. So we're creating a declared at value table in order to store our string. So we're making that a varchar 128, should be big enough. We're inserting into that temporary table, and we're just going to take our original select statement, and since the name of our column is at db, or sorry, vdb rather, then we're going to need to make sure that we insert into vdb. So I'm just going to take out compatibility level because we don't have that column and we can't insert columns that don't exist. I'm just put as, and we put VDB. So we're going to take the name of the database and insert it into a column called VDB. And one more, I'm going to put another AND condition here, which is where compatibility level equals, or not equals in this case, 150. So what we're doing here is then if I run it repeatedly, I'm still going to get the same result if they don't change. So in this case we see we have our two databases, they're not in that compatibility level. I've been able to do a select against them. So far all we've got is our select criteria built up. So let's go into the next part. I want to build a way of running that statement. So now I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to declare another SQL object, another varchar. I'm going to say max because the string could be longer than most others because this is going to be our T-SQL statement. I'm going to select again here. I'm going to create another at VDB. And again, same scenario. It's going to be a varchar, same size because we don't want a mismatch, because I'm going to be putting database names in there, so it helps if the database name is the same size as the previous one. And now we're going to do our nice little while exists clause. So this is where we're going to build out our loop. And in that loop, we're going to say select one from, and then our temporary table. So our V table. So our virtual table, I think is probably the best way to describe that. And so out of that, we're going to say, right, begin a process. So as long as there is something to select from that table, we're going to do the following. And we're going to select top 1. So we're taking the first record while there's something that exists in that table. And we're going to do the at VDB equals VDB. So we're inserting into our VDB the VDB from the table. Our select statement, or in this case our alter statement, is going to be our T-SQL, so at T-SQL equals, and then we're using the single quotes in order to give the text. Then we're going to do a plus, and then we need our variable. So in this case the variable is, or the thing that's dynamically changing on each run is the database. So we're doing at VDB equals, and then we're going to set the compatibility level. So what this does is we're saying, okay, the alter database will always be the same, but the at VDB is going to change with each row. So every row we select is going to return a database, and each database item is unique. So this gives us the basic output, and we're going now from our virtual table. So select first row, and then that's going to give the output. So what do we do next? Well, next we're going to say, okay, what else have we got? We're going to print the statement. This gives us the ability to check what we're doing looks right. Okay, so we can just print out the statement for now, and I'm going to comment out, but I'm going to put it in already, the exec at T-SQL, and then we're going to delete the row that we're using, because otherwise it would just potentially loop over that same row repeatedly. So we're going to say delete from table where VDB equals at VDB. So basically where the database name, because the database name in this case is unique, so we'd only be doing it once. If we were using something else, such as a table name or something, then it would be table name and so on and so forth. But here we have a nice little loop. This is going to do nothing other than print out the command that it's going to run. And we see here we have two commands that are printed out, and we have a alter database body and alter database example. So now what we're going to do is take that from a print loop to an execution loop, and we go and run it. Oh, and we have an error. Alright, not what I was expecting, but to be fair, this does happen. So what we've got here is a syntax error. Now let's see, what can we do? Usually the first thing I try to do is make sure that all the open and closes are correct. I tend to put them on one line so that it's much easier to read. That's clearly not our problem though, so what else can it be? Let's look at, maybe it's the select insert into. Let's try to close that one off and just make sure that it's not that one. So I'll add a quick comma at the end here, or semicolons, and see what happens. So let's go ahead and just add that up there. Run that again. Nope, that's not it. So what have we got? What are we missing? I get it. Our at statement, our select. We do not have these close brackets. There we go. That's probably it. And one more time, and there we go. Yes, so 2 rows inserted, 2 rows affected, individual runs. And since we don't have the print statement, we don't know what was executed, but I'm gonna say it's probably what we asked for. So we can do this in a couple of ways. We can select quickly our DBs again and see if anything matches our select statement. 0 rows are returned. And we can do an at DB, and we say what is the compatibility level, and it's 150. Awesome.